Hello, thank you so much for clicking on this video, whoever you are, I appreciate you. I'm continuing my journalism journey with a short video on politics. In this video, I would like to discuss conservatism and libertarianism according to some articles I have read and key notes I have made on each article, then compare the two. I would like to see more discussion surrounding this topic as I stand somewhere between the two, which I will discuss later on in the video as well. I also identify as having Christian values and am on my Christian journey, so some of my points and discussion will be influenced by that. I will link the articles I used for research in the description box so that you can all verify/fact check me. With that being said, let's start the discussion. I just want to apologize for any mistakes I make in the video, if I'm stumbling over my words. I try to record things in one take and speak clearly, but I do make a lot of mistakes, so yeah, sorry about that. Article 1. I got a little emotional reading this article. It's rather sad that we live in a world where people are afraid to let their friends know their political beliefs. What happened to tolerance? Anyway, digging into this article, the author speaks about being pro-life and how left-leaning ideologies can frame pro-lifers as eliminating a woman's right to choose. There is a spectrum when it comes to being pro-life, as there is in being pro-choice. However, branding each side as completely evil minimizes the chance to discuss and debate this contentious topic. The author also encourages conversations with people with opposing views to you. If you believe you are truly right about something, you should be able to defend your beliefs against opposing ones. At the end of the conversation, as the author proclaims, you will either have strengthened your own beliefs or it may make you want to do more research and look at your own beliefs from a different perspective. So, Article 2. The article goes over 10 conservative principles from Russell Kirk. I want to highlight a section from the second principle regarding adhering to custom, convention, and tradition. Conservatives are champions of custom, convention, and continuity because they prefer the devil they know to the devil they don't know. This is an intriguingly worded phrase, but it conveys a powerful message of tradition. I think one example of this could be some conservative attitudes towards women working. Motherhood can be a beautiful thing, and our bodies are generally built for it, but it can also be a very challenging and fatiguing thing to raise a child for at least 2 decades. Some conservatives may assert that women should stick to the devil of motherhood rather than the devil of being a career woman, because conventionally, women are not designed to work long hours doing physically and mentally demanding jobs. I don't think motherhood or being a career woman is devilish, by the way. 2 points to discuss with Article 3. First, the quote, God and belonging to Christ are much bigger and more important than political creeds. I really appreciate this sentiment because God rules over everyone, not just left-leaning Christians or right-leaning Christians. Politics is a big part of society where people's faith in the Lord should be bigger than their political beliefs. And what I mean by that is that people should befriend or at least tolerate other Christians with opposing political values. We are all humans designed in the image of the Lord at the end of the day. Secondly, there are so many important single issues that Christians rightly campaign on: abortion, family, religious liberty, poverty, debt, refugees, etc. These are all big issues in political ideologies, but the term single issue voting has always irked me. I don't understand why people have single issue voting stances, especially conservatives, because I perceive conservatism implies wanting to conserve multiple things in society. Only caring about abortion but not about family issues screams hypocrisy or ignorance. Only caring about religious liberty but not refugees who may not have religious liberty where they are fleeing from is again hypocritical or ignorant. To me, to conserve society, you have to be consistently conservative on most, if not all, issues. So for the first libertarian article, 2 principles of libertarianism from this article that I would like to highlight is limited government and peace. With limited government, the author of the article remarks, libertarians want to divide and limit power, and that means especially to limit government, generally through a written constitution enumerating and limiting the powers that people delegate to government. From this remark, libertarians want most of the power to go to the people, so that they can be their own rulers more often than not. They can see that there are some things only a government can govern more efficiently than the individual person. This also implies lower taxes, as the government would need less money as it has less responsibilities. Then with peace, the author asserts they understood that war brought death and destruction on a grand scale, disrupted family and economic life, and put more power in the hands of the ruling class, which might explain why the rulers did not always share the popular sentiment for peace. This assertion tells me that libertarians typically are anti-war unless extreme cases, possibly like World War II. Also, libertarians appear to want to conserve life and family and economic stability, which war can decimate the longer it goes on. And you get another sentiment that libertarians are very much power to the people and find it frustrating that a ruling class gets to speak for individuals who may not agree with everything they say or do, but have no power in representing themselves individually. For the second libertarian article, this article defines being a libertarian as someone who adheres to the notion that liberty and freedom are the most important political values. You should have the freedom to do what you want, and people and the government should not be able to interfere with it. The author of the article remarks, libertarians envision a world where people are free to experiment with different ways of living and free to try new ideas that might just be crazy enough to work. From this remark, I perceive libertarians as being a mixture of conservatives and liberalists. They are indifferent but also care to some extent about people's choices and way of life. For example, if a man wants to live off the grid and try to survive, they will support that, which is quite liberal. However, they would also support him setting up and running his own business and being a part of the community, which would be considered more conservative. It comes back to freedom for them. But I wonder if libertarians ever think about freedom to versus freedom from. So for Article 3, the author of this article makes two noteworthy points. First, the author writes, Christian libertarians believe that a civil society must do as much as possible to encourage choices and must do as little as possible to separate the choice from the consequence. Then they go on to say Christian libertarians believe that they should live wholesome, productive lives because they have a conviction to do so. They also believe that people should be able to choose not to live in such a way, and those people will suffer the consequences in their lives and before God. From these statements, I'm perceiving libertarianism as allowing the notion that God gave us free will as the guide to get you through life. Use your freedom liberally or conservatively or anything in between, but if your use of free will infringes on the freedom of others, libertarians will disapprove and want you to conserve others' freedoms. Again, there's this perception I have of libertarianism being a combination of liberalism and conservatism while reading all of these articles. I think that libertarianism and conservatism are similar but also very different. Libertarianism is a morphing of conservatism and liberalism together. Free will and freedom are everything to libertarians, but they bring out their conservative side if their freedoms are infringed upon, in the sense that they will take conservative actions, perhaps like war, to retain their liberal tendencies, like choosing to live life however they see it. I think that conservatism is more of a collective thing where traditions and customs of a group aim to be conserved, even if they are not the most freedom-friendly things. Libertarians want the choice to be able to do the traditional thing or be untraditional. Conservatives have foresight where they know that there are potential dangers to change and could be portrayed with the phrase, prevention is better than needing a solution. Libertarians may also have the foresight, but because they believe freedom is paramount, they could be portrayed with the phrase, you live and you learn, denoting that people should try and fail rather than have not tried at all. Politically, I stand somewhere between conservatism and libertarianism. I think I lead towards conservatism more on some days and libertarianism more on other days. I don't believe that people are completely locked into one political ideology. It's dangerous because some people are afraid to admit that they agree with an opposing ideology on certain issues. I think in reality most people are independent, but I don't see independency pushed enough in media or even considered around the world. It's always left and right. Politics can be so nuanced, but it's overshadowed by party systems, groupthink, and corruption. So yeah, that's the video. I don't think this is a super well written video, but I'm just getting my feet wet with writing about politics. Hopefully I'll get better as I write more about it and other topics in general. I'm trying to do a variety of journalism content, not just writing and making videos about video games. I hope you guys appreciated what I had to say, even if you disagreed with any of it. Please let me know what you think of today's video in the comments. Feedback is wanted and needed. Like, share and subscribe, and God bless you.